All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is May 9th. We got a full MLB slate to jump into today. On this channel, we go through each and every game. I give you my lean or leans on the game, but my final plays, what I actually end up rolling with, what I like the most, and what I'm rolling with myself will be in the pinned comment, and I update that throughout the day. If you're watching this super early, we may not have any in yet, but we do add them in throughout the day, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We are so damn close to 23,000 subscribers. You're going too fast. I can't even keep track right now. So make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. And before we get into the episode, I do want to talk to you guys about Jock Market. First and foremost, there's a link for Jock Market in the description. I'll put it in the pinned comment as well. But Jock Market is an amazing app. I know I say that about all sort of the brand partners and whatnot that we have on the channel, but if you guys have been seeing my TikToks or Instagram Reels, you know that I do really like Jock Market. They have the typical prize picks playing format where, you pick player props and based on their projections, you say more or less, that type of thing. But what Jock Market really kind of distinguishes themselves in is their second part of the app, and how they started is that they have a sports player stock market. So it could be for a month or just for one day. You can buy and sell shares of players. We'll go in and give you a demo towards the end of the video so you know what I'm talking about, but it is really cool. It's a really, really fun time where you compete against friends or a bunch of other people for real money. So make sure to check out Jock Market. Use that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. Again, if you want to stick around to the end of the video, we'll have a little demo up on our screen here, and we'll jump in and show you guys around, but definitely worth checking out. Use that link again in the description or the pinned comment. In terms of last night's plays, kind of come out wishy-washy here. We do go 1 and 2. If I had to pick one to win, it would have been the Rangers at plus 140 on the money line, but we do still come out on the negative, and that means this week, or I would say the last 4 days, we've been going positive, right? Slightly loss. Positive, slightly in the loss column. So kind of unfortunate. I look to have one of those big nights pretty soon. It was great going, what was it, just like I don't know, probably a week and a half ago, having a 4-0 night. Really want to get back to that, so maybe we do something like that today. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. The first game on our slate here is going to be Cleveland taking on the Detroit Tigers here. Cleveland minus 200 here on the money line at home. In terms of how they made out yesterday, Detroit actually takes that win 6-2, which, I lean towards Detroit in that one. I would never actually pull the trigger on there, but Detroit's been playing decent baseball here. They're covering their run lines too as underdogs here. In terms of who's on the mound, Shane Bieber's on the mound for the Guardians today, 2-1 with a 2.9 ERA, and then Lorenzen's on the mound for the Tigers, 1-1 with a 5.14 ERA. I do think Bieber's, obviously, you're going to give the pitching nod to Cleveland here. They're coming off of a loss yesterday, which I can't imagine they're all that thrilled about, so I'm going to lean towards Cleveland on the run line here, minus 1.5. They're a terrible run line team. I'll come out and say it, but I just can't really trust the Tigers, especially when leading them yesterday. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that 2 games in a row, even though they are covering that run line. 7 of their last 10 games. They've done it in 6 of their last 7 as well, so they are keeping games close or winning games, but with Bieber on the mound, I do think this is a Cleveland bounce back spot, so I'm going to lean towards Cleveland on the run line. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that does ultimately become a final play. And then we're looking at a total of 7.5. Yesterday's gets to 8 runs, and Detroit has been having high scoring games as of late, but Cleveland just not putting up the run. So I don't expect their offense to come out of nowhere and score 6 runs today or anything like that. And I think Bieber holds this Tigers offense down to just a couple runs. So I'm actually going to lean towards the under in this one. All right, the Pirates, the mighty old Pirates, the team that we have canceled here, taking on the Rockies. Pirates get the win yesterday, and they're minus 170 on the money line today. I think they finished right around minus 170 on the money line as well yesterday. It was a very close game. 2-0 was the finish, and that was the first time in, I believe, 7 games that the Rockies had not covered their run line or won outright. Ortiz on the mound for the Pirates, and Seabold on the mound for the Rockies. Now, the tough thing about this, and you guys know I don't lie to you, I don't know too much about either of these pitchers, so it makes it tough to dive in and research this game, at really early in the morning. So it is a little tough, but what I do like is Colorado on the run line regardless. I think if they get back to form here, but again, I don't know if this ultimately becomes a final play, because how confident can I be if I can't trust who's throwing the ball 100 times to the opposing team, and that's just me being completely honest with you guys. I just don't know enough or haven't seen enough of these pitchers, and reading articles and doing some research isn't going to give me that feeling of what do these pitchers do. So I'm going to lean the Rockies to keep this game close, but again, I can't lie to you guys, can't act like, I'm hooting and hollering about about this game when I just don't know enough about it. In terms of a total, 9 runs here. Yesterday's game finishes 2-0. I do think the offense has bounced back in a decent way here. Pittsburgh has barely scored in their last, I would say, 8 games. I think they haven't scored over 2 runs. Maybe this is kind of a come out party for them there. Colorado also very inconsistent. 9 runs here, just based on the fact that this line is at 9, given the fact that we've seen what these teams have been doing offensively as of late, tells me that Vegas knows something. They even upped the total from yesterday, which was 8.5. Obviously 2 better pitchers on the mound, or I assume they're 2 better pitchers because I know the 2 pitchers from yesterday and don't know these guys all that well. But like I said, they kept the line around that number. So Vegas, you got to do a little line reading here. If Vegas dropped this number after an 2-0 game, then we could consider an under. But the fact that they went up again tells me that this one probably ends up going over, and Vegas thinks that that is the case. All right, a game that I'm a little bit more excited about. We have Baltimore taking on the Rays here. Baltimore are underdogs at home, plus 115 on the money line. Total sitting at 8.5. Grayson Rodriguez on the mound for the O's. 1-0 with a 5.46 ERA. We got Zach Eflin on the mound for the Rays here. He is 4-0 with a 2.25 ERA. This Rays team, obviously one of the better teams in baseball. They win game 1 yesterday, 3-0, and I think you're getting good odds. You can get them at minus 125 on the money line here over on DraftKings right now. I will say, based on the sites that I'm using, I'm seeing a lot of money on Baltimore, so the sharps out there may think that they know something, but I also don't hate Tampa Bay on the run line for plus 135. So if you want some more bang for your buck, I do think that that would probably be the way to lean here, but I do like this spot for Tampa Bay. The only thing that scares me is the fact that there's some heavy money here on Baltimore money line, so someone might know something, maybe someone that's a little bit smarter than me. But nonetheless, I'm sticking to my gut, sticking to my numbers, sticking to my research. I'm leaning Tampa Bay on the money line. In terms of the total, 8.5 runs. I think Tampa Bay puts up a decent amount of runs today, and Baltimore maybe gets to Tampa Bay's bullpen. So I'm going to lean towards the over 8.5 in this one. All right, we got Cincinnati taking on the Mets. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I wanted to skip past this when I did see this game on the slate and going through the research here. I don't totally love it, but I am going to lean towards the home dogs here, plus 180 on the Reds. This Mets team only won 3 of their last 10 games. They're certainly not covering run line, so if you like Cincinnati plus 1.5 for plus money, I don't hate that either, but this Mets team is all over the place. I don't care with Max Scherzer on the mound. This Mets team just has been super inconsistent. Scherzer is 2-2 with a 5.56 ERA. In fact, I think he let up 6 earned runs last game, something like that. Everything about this Mets team kind of scares me, so I'm going to lightly lean towards Cincinnati for some plus money, both on the run line and the money line. And then in terms of a total, 9.5, I think this one actually stays under. You have Luke Weaver on the mound, 7.8 ERA. That is obviously very high number, but obviously a veteran pitcher, knows his way around a baseball diamond. And then Max Scherzer, like I said, inconsistent, but you have 2 guys that can definitely allow, 3 runs or so. So I'm going to lean towards the under. I don't think this one gets to double digits, but I told you guys already, and I hate to do it 4 videos in, 2 of the games I don't like, but I'm not going to force myself to like games, and I like being honest with you guys. This is a game that I literally almost wanted to skip over. All right, Phillies taking on the Blue Jays. I do think this is going to be a fairly interesting series. Toronto's coming off of sweeping Pittsburgh. Phillies coming off of only winning 1 against Boston in that 3-game series, although they did win that last game pretty dominantly, 6-1. Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phillies, 2-2 with a 4.64 ERA, and then Alek Manoah on the mound for the Blue Jays, 1-2 with a 4.71 ERA. Like I said, Toronto built some momentum against that Pittsburgh team. I do think that they're in a good spot today. That being said, this Phillies team is probably the better team. Now, give it, what would you say? Give it 2 years. I think Blue Jays will probably be a better team, but I do think that I'm going to lean towards the home team here in game 1 of a new series with a serviceable pitcher on the mound. So I'm going to lean towards Philadelphia, even though I do think that the Blue Jays can probably keep this game close. If it wasn't minus 170 on sportsbooks here for Toronto plus 1.5 on the run line, I might lean in that direction, but that money just isn't good enough for me. So I'm going to lean towards the Phillies here, minus 135. I think it's going to be a very good series, though, and I like that, guys. Doing these videos every single day, game 1s of series, sometimes it's like, well, what the hell am I going to talk about tomorrow? I feel like it's a pretty similar baseball team playing a pretty similar baseball team. Same thing we talked about yesterday, just new pitchers, right? Or new small adjustments to the lineup. I do like series in which, I feel like every game is sort of up in the air and you got to find that sort of little seed and let it grow into a profitable tree. You know what I mean? So I do think this is going to be a good series. I'm going to lean towards Phillies here in game 1. And then in terms of a total 8.5, I do think both pitchers, start off probably, I would say, for the first time through the lineup pretty decently, but then both offenses get to it, so I'm going to lean towards the over. All right, New York Yankees taking on Oakland here. Yankees winning yesterday 7-2 on the mound for the Yankees today. We have Clark Schmidt 0-3 with a 5.83 ERA. Raczynski on the mound for the Athletics. He's 0-2 with a 7.71 ERA. The only thing I'm looking at here is going to be the over 9. I think you have two worse pitchers on the mound here. They got to 9 runs yesterday. Oakland had scored a decent amount of runs in this series with Kansas City and then, Cincinnati before the Seattle series. Either way, they can show they can put up 4 to 5 runs. Go do that today. In terms of a side here, I don't find any value on either side. New York is way too heavy of favorites at minus 240 for me to consider, and then I don't trust Oakland to necessarily keep this game close. So I am only going to lean towards the over here. I don't like the pitching, and I think these offenses can at least each put up 4 or 5 runs. Give me one extra there, and we cash it over. All right, game one between Atlanta and the Red Sox here. Atlanta heavy favorites, minus 185 at home on the money line. The Red Sox have won 8 of their last 10. They've covered the run line in 8 of their last 10 as well, because they've been underdogs for the majority of those. Morton on the mound for the Braves, 3-3 with a 3.38 ERA. Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Sox, 2-2 with a 4.99 ERA. I think this is a Braves game all day long, but I do think the Red Sox have a chance to keep it close. Like I talked to you guys about in the last video that we talked about the Red Sox, I don't necessarily think it's their time to regress. Now, this is a very, very tough matchup. I can admit that. One thing I would also consider is just going to be Nick Pivetta over in his hits allowed, because this Braves team has been crushing pitchers when it comes to hits allowed here. But this Red Sox team is keeping games close, and then they have that pop-off ability. Some way, somehow, they do, and they're scoring overs left and right as well. So I'm going to lean towards the over here. There is going to be wind blowing directly out to center field. Meteorologists have reporting for duty, and I like the Red Sox on the run line here. Keep an eye on the pinned comment if it does become a final play, but yeah, I definitely am looking in terms of those jock market plays and player props that I'm going to be throwing in. I'm going to be looking into Nick Pivetta's hits over. Hopefully they put that line right around 3-ish, because I do think that this Braves team is an easy lock for 4 hits. Before we get to the next game, I do want to talk to you guys about, you guessed it, Outlier, my favorite sports betting research tool, app, desktop client version, whatever you guys want to call it. It's an amazing thing to throw into your repertoire. They have a really, really cool system. Very, very visual, guys. Green is good, red is bad. If you're a visual learner like me and you're a dummy, they make it super easy, especially for player props. They have a trends page, which allows you to go and find trending plays without having to do any of the heavy lifting. They'll do plays like, for example, if we're to use this hypothetically, Nick Pivetta, when facing top 5 teams in hitting, is allowing over 3.5 hits allowed in his last 10 games 7 times, something like that, right? You don't have to go in and find that the Braves are a good hitting team. You don't have to go in and find the last 10 starts for Nick Pivetta. You don't have to find his line, all that stuff. And then with one click of a button, you can add that bet to your favorite sports bet slip over there. It opens up the desktop, the website, or it opens the app on your phone right away. You don't have to go digging for it. Outlier is the way to go for so many reasons. I got a link in the description as well as the pinned comment for you guys. 7-day free trial. I will say it's $19.99 per month after that, or I think it's like $1.99, $1.99 for a year, so $200. Both are well worth it in my opinion. Now, not everyone can scrape together those two, coins and whatnot. I get that. So try it for 7 days for free, and at least have 7 days of way more knowledgeable sports betting. You know what I mean? Just click that free trial link, guys. Go sign up. It is well worth it, even if it is just for the free trial. They probably don't like me saying this, but free is free. And I love the guys over at Outlier. Hopefully they are okay with me saying that. But yeah, if you want to just try it for 7 days, go try it. All right, we got Dodgers taking on the Brewers here. Brewers plus 110 on the money line at home. This game yesterday, Brewers actually take that win 9-3. Freddie Peralta started for them on the mound yesterday. On the mound today, they have Eric Lauer. He's 3-3 with a 4.4 ERA. Noah Syndergaard on the mound for the Dodgers, 1-3 with a 6.32 ERA. Now, I do think a lot of people are going to be on the Dodgers to bounce back today, but I'm actually going to lean towards the Brewers again. Now, this is a team that I said, nope, no more betting on the Brewers, right? And then I leaned leaned their way yesterday, and looked what happened. I think it's another good spot for the Brewers. I think all the public's going to be on the Dodgers, and I think that they can kind of win our trust back. So I'm going to lean towards the Brewers. I don't know if I make it a final play yet, but if they do go out there and win, all of a sudden this is a team that we kind of threw into the graveyard, right? They may be clawing back into our consideration. And then we're looking at a total of 9.5 here. Again, yesterday's game ended 9-3. The Dodgers didn't really get their offense going, and that Brewers, I think it was the 7th inning, they scored a bunch of runs in, so it wasn't even a consistent 9 runs there. So if they can kind of flatten out that consistency and the Dodgers can throw in a couple more runs, I think we're looking at an easy over, easy double-digit game. I'm going to lean towards the over as well. All right, Cubs taking on the Cardinals here. The graphic does not have an updated total. However, we do have an updated total at 8 right now. This opened up at 9. It is now at 8, at least over on DraftKings if you guys do use that. Yesterday's game, St. Louis wins that one 3-1. They're plus 105 dogs, and they beat Marcus Stroman and win that game. Now on the mound for them is James Talon for the Cubs. Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Cardinals. Neither pitcher I'm really going to throw too much weight into, so I'm going to look at who has the better offense here, and I do think obviously that one run scored for the Cubs yesterday isn't all that great. Now they did go into extra innings the game before. Shout out to the comments for letting me, letting me bask in that one. Obviously we had the under in that game, and then all of a sudden they go to extra innings, we get screwed, and then I take the Cubs money line yesterday, and everyone's like, why would you do that? You just talked about how they went into extra innings. They're probably going to be tired, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I still liked the Cubs yesterday, but I do like them again today, guys. So I'm going to lean towards the Cubs here. I think you're getting some decent value at minus 123. You can also find them at minus 120 over on FanDuel, and I think that this is going to be a pretty public chalk play, but I like it nonetheless. Then we're looking at a total, like I said, of 8 runs. Yesterday was 3-1. I think if this Cubs team gets it going, maybe they score 4 runs. St. Louis still, scores 2-3 runs. I think it sticks under that 8 mark by about a run or so, so I'm going to lean towards the under. Our next game up is Kansas City taking on the White Sox here, but before we even get into that game, we got to give our shout out where it is due. We have our ride of the day coming in from Game Blouses. He had the Diamondbacks run line yesterday. Obviously, that ends up being a good pick as well, but what we rode with was the first 5 under, and that cashes. And this dude damn near called how the game would transpire. So you know what? There's a cha-ching for you, game, and then let's pump in some damn crowd noise, guys. What a call. That definitely helped us out as well. And if you don't know what the ride of the day is, all it is you guys throwing a pick my way. I like when it's a little different, a first 5 under, a player prop, or something like that. Not everything that we talk about in the video, I'll be completely honest. I'm looking for ones that are really interesting to me, and this one definitely was interesting. We ended up riding with that, but all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments, and I'm jumping on board with you guys. So I had a 1-2 night last night, right? Game Plus hooked it up, and I had a 2-2 night in my actual bankroll there. Obviously, we don't count that towards the record. I don't think it's fair to count your wins towards my record, but nonetheless, guys, use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments and give me a pick today, and I'll be jumping on board with one person's play, and then you guys get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. You get the applause. We celebrate if you do hit, just like Game did yesterday, but if you lose, you gotta face the womp womp. So it's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people get a little scared, but guys, it is a fun thing we do on the channel here, so go ahead and drop that hashtag ride of the day and give me a pick in the comments. Let's get moving here. We got the Royals taking on the Chicago White Sox. Like I said, in this one, Royals plus 135 here on the money line. Total is sitting at 9.5 runs. Lyles on the mound for the Royals, 0-5 with a 6.25 ERA. And then Lucas Frozen Yogurt Gelato on the mound for the White Sox, 1-2 with a 3.67 ERA. We did like the White Sox in yesterday's game. They go out there and win that one. Royals 12-5, which is kind of shocking. I didn't think Dylan Cease was going to get batted around, even though it wasn't necessarily all him, but that Royals team came to play. But do they do that 2 times in a row? I don't think so. I'm leaning White Sox here, minus 142. I could fade Lyles all day long this season thus far. Really don't like him all that much. I don't like the run line though for the White Sox. I'll be completely honest. This Royals team has shown that even when they do lose, they can kind of keep some games close. So I'm going to lean towards the, like I said, White Sox. I'm not checking out that run line. And then in terms of a total, 9.5 runs. With the pitchers yesterday, we saw a 17 total. I think this one gets up and over again with 2 worse pitchers today. So call me crazy. I'm leaning the over. All right, Minnesota Twins taking on the San Diego Padres, game one of this series. Minnesota's coming off 2 straight losses and losing 2 of 3 against Cleveland, and San Diego's coming off of 2 straight losses, losing 2 of 3 against the Dodgers. Varland on the mound for the Twins. He's got no decisions yet, but he's a 5.91 ERA. Michael Wacha on the mound, 2-1 with a 5.46 ERA. I've seen 79% of bets on the Padres right now, but 92% of the money is on the Twins. I'm going to follow the money here. I'm looking at the road team in game one. Yes, this Padres team has looked pretty decent, but they've still lost 2 straight games. Like I said, this Twins team is nothing to tip your nose at, so I'm going to lean towards where I think value and where it's being overlooked. I'm going to fade the public, go with the money, and lean towards the Twins here on the money line here at -115. You can get that over on MGM as of right now. In terms of a total 9 runs, I want to say this one goes under easily. I'm going to lean under slightly, but both these offenses at any given moment could put up 7 runs themselves quite easily too, right? So that's a little scary regardless of who is on the mound, but I do think this one sticks towards the under. Minnesota has only scored 5 runs through their last 3 games here, and San Diego's only scored 8 runs through their last 3 games, so they barely combined for this total with their last 3 offensive outputs combined here. So I'm going to lean towards the under. We get burned in this game yesterday. The Angels taking on the Astros. Ohtani on the mound for the Angels today, 4-0, 2.54 ERA. He's had a couple starts in which he didn't look necessarily like himself. What was his? He had like 1 earned run prior to. I think he's left 9 runs through his last 2 games, so he's cooling off a little bit. Still a better pitcher than what the Astros are trotting out in Framber Valdez here, 2-4, the 2.6 ERA. I back the pitching of the Angels, but I do think this Astros team is going to get the thing going offensively here. Now, obviously, it would be great to be able to get Altuve back. That isn't the case as of right now. And a couple other guys as well. They are a beaten and bruised team. But nonetheless, I think the value here is going to be on Houston moneyline, +120. With Ohtani on the mound, I would expect the Angels to be even heavier favorites against a Houston team that's only won 3 games in their last 10, right? So I'm looking at this saying, okay, what are they saying here? I think that they're saying that this Houston team has a chance to win. They don't want to take that risk of people playing, +175 or something like that. So I'm reading a little bit, maybe too much into that, but I'm going to lean towards Houston on the money line here, +120. I don't love them on the run line. -175 odds doesn't tickle my fancy. I also do like the over as well. Like I said, I'm basing this pick off of Houston's offense starting to get going. They did score 5-6 runs in 2 games against Seattle. Then they cooled off at a 3-1 game. They scored 4 yesterday, but not enough to get the job done. I think the offense kind of bounces back today, scores a decent amount of runs. They get to Ohtani, which is crazy to even say out loud, but I'm reading into that line where I do think that this money line could be a lot, longer of odds here, yet we do have +120, so I like that. And then in terms, like I said, of the total, it's based on offense going over. All right, the D-backs taking on the Marlins, and like we said yesterday, Arizona wins that one. I had the Marlins. I leaned towards the Marlins, but like I said, with the ride of the day, game pretty much calls us. Pavraft, whatever the guy's name is on the mound for the Diamondbacks. If I'm not mistaken, that was his debut last time out. Pitched well for the first couple innings, then they get to him there. He has a 13.5 ERA, which obviously ain't all that great, but I'm not blaming him for that. I think he pitched like 4 innings, had 7 runs in that first start of the season there. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for the Marlins, 2-2 with a 3.66 ERA, and you're still getting even odds here on the Marlins, so bring on the hate comments again. I'm leaning towards the Marlins yet again here. I just don't necessarily see this one being a game in which the Arizona runs away with it, so just give me a chance here. The Marlins, obviously the underdog, the clear underdog, makes sense that they're the underdog. That's why I sound the psycho alert alarm. I think they can keep this game close. Maybe we look at a plus money win there. In terms of a total 9 runs here, I think there's going to be a lot of runs scored in this game. I'm going to go towards the over and lean and hope for some double digits. All right, a game in which pretty much was our saving grace yesterday. The Texas Rangers pull it out as away dogs here. They ended at +150. We got them at +140, and they get the win. Kirby on the mound for the Mariners, 3-2 with a 3.11 ERA, and then Heaney on the mound for the Rangers, 2-2 with a 5.52 ERA. I do think this one kind of switches up, and we lean towards the Mariners here. I don't want to test fate too much. We did have Rangers obviously on the money line yesterday, but I think this is a Mariners spot and a bounce back type spot here. So I know we are looking at some heavy odds in terms of Mariners, -165. I don't love that all that much. I actually don't hate them on the run line either, -1.5 for +125. But either way, I think this is a Mariners type game. And then we have some wind blowing in towards the batter's face. Now, obviously, this stadium can be altered, but I do think that, wind win's not necessarily gonna be something that says like, you know, sound the alarms, we gotta close shop up. So I'm gonna lean towards the under here, as there is wind blowing directly into the face of the batters. And we saw a 2-1 game yesterday. Maybe this is sort of pitching defensive type, non-offensive type series. All right, guys, last game on the slate. We're looking at the San Francisco Giants taking on the Nationals in this one. Giants pretty heavy favorites, minus 240 here on the money line at home. Washington getting the 5-1 win yesterday. Jake Irvin pitching for them. He pitched 6 innings, I believe, too, which is pretty good there. San Francisco doesn't necessarily get to him at all. And then you see San Francisco come in as these huge favorites again. Now they have Logan Webb on the mound, 2-5 with a 4.4 ERA, and then Patrick Corbin's on the mound for the Nationals, 1-4 with a 5.17 ERA. I don't think that we lean the Nationals here. I think that that's a little crazy, but I don't hate Nationals to keep this game close or potentially win it at plus money on the run line over on MGM. So I'm going to lean towards Washington plus 1.5 runs. Then we have a total of 8 runs. I think this one is going to score a decent amount of runs here, regardless of who is in control, who's in the driver's seat, or who's going to win this game, because we saw Washington put up 5 runs yesterday. I don't think you're going to see San Francisco score 1 run again, so I like the over here. All right, guys, that does it for the slate portion of this video. Now we're going to jump into Jock Market, and I just want to kind of plug around and show you guys what it is like or what goes on there. So let's head over to this screen here, and you guys can see Jock Market for what it really is. Now, again, on the phone, you're going to have the ability to do exactly what you do in Prize Picks or any of those apps as of right now. Pick players based on their projection. But what I want to go through is the markets that they have, because I think that's what really distinguishes them and makes them totally unique. They have free to join contests here where you can actually win some money. So let's look at this one. This is for the week of. It starts today, May 9th, goes through 5/14 here, 14, and you can see what goes on. You can see the event info if you want to go through it. So these are the scoring for at-bats and what you get in terms of money and valuations and everything like that. But yeah, it's really, really cool because what the thing that you look at is the price for guys, right? Starling Marte right now, he is $7.23. Now you get, when you enter this, you join for free and they give you an allotment of coins, so don't worry about that. This isn't true money. And then you kind of put your slip together and you can see where guys are. So right now, this guy is leading the pack. His value is running away with everyone. He's probably trading a bunch. You can see here he's very, very experienced. But what is really cool, like I said, is if we said, okay, Andrew Benintendi has a great matchup today, we can go and bid on him, and we could take, you know, X amount of shares of him, and then say he starts playing really, really well, and we say, okay, let's dump it off, let's sell his shares, and then we have that money now in our wallet. And what happens is, come 5/14 at the end of this contest, you're gonna have your wallet, and whoever ranks the highest, just like we just saw here, whoever ranks on the leaderboard with the highest wallet at the end of the contest ends up winning the actual money there. And they have money here. It's free to join. You can win real money. Definitely go check it out, guys. I've been liking Jock Market as of late. I do the Prize Picks plays and everything a lot more than I do these contests because I like betting on player props on Jock Market. But what I will say, it's very, very fun when you go and throw in, you can jump into one of these contests. So make sure to go check that out, guys. And I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.